All right. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday. It is also Friday before Mardi Gras really starts taking off here, and you can already feel it, I'm sure, driving down Johnson Street, because today I drove down Johnson Street, and that was a big mistake. Today we have a great episode. We have Korey Champagne.
Champagne.
Champagne?
Champagne.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to forever butcher that, but yeah, we got Korey in the house. He's a local baker and he has a company called Acadian Slice Pies. We're going to be talking with him about all things pie. I mean, meat pies, sweet pies, savory pies, quiche pies, cream pies, all the pies. I just don't know about pizza pies. I don't think you do that.
We do a pizza.
No.
Yeah.
Wait. We're going to talk about that in just a second. All right, Korey. So, first order of business, before we get too deep into all the pies, because I know
There's plenty.
you're a pie guy. I want to know a little bit about you first and kind of how this business came to be. How'd you get started in it? And obviously, you sound like you're from here with that last name because, I mean, you don't get that last name from anywhere else typically. Tell us a little about you and how you got started in the business. You don't have to be too long-winded.
Nah, I got you.
Yeah,
It's a pretty simple story. Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in the Houma Thibodeau area, so around-ish here.
Yep.
Went to school at LSU. Then after that, wound up working for Acadian Ambulance. Was a paramedic for the better part of 10 years. Lived in Baton Rouge. Lived in Lafayette. Met my wife here. So she's from the Broussard, Youngsville area. And we kind of bounced around a little bit. But after we had our son, settled back here in Lafayette, where I was actually trying to go back to school to be a doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah. And so she kind of looked at me when I was having a lot of frustration with school and said, do you really want or think this is going to happen? So I kind of stepped away from that and just worked on the ambulance for a little while my son was young. And before that, when she was pregnant, I started to make pies at home just on a whim. Said, man, I think I really want to learn how to make a good pie crust. That's it.
All right.
That was it. She was pregnant. Pie wasn't something she was going to argue with me about. And so we did that and it just kind of took off. I started bringing it to family events. And once I had locked in this crust recipe, it was super versatile. We could put any fillings we want in there. So we started having a little fun with that. And then when something starts to become a thing, everyone starts to ask that question, you could sell this. But I had never worked in food service. I didn't come from a family that had worked in food service or started businesses or even, made pies. It was just this thing that I did on the side and just kind of on a whim. I put together a very small menu, went to the farmer's market. They told me, hey, yeah, this would be a great addition to the market. It was a lot smaller than it is now. The park wasn't open or any of that stuff. And it just kind of took off. I mean, within an hour or so, the first time we were there, we sold out. And we just kept bringing more and selling everything we brought. And so I stayed on the ambulance and worked there for about a year or two and was doing both.
Yeah,
and
that's hard.
Then had to start asking those hard questions where it was, I've got to make a decision here. And once we really started getting into the local festivals, fair festivals, and other events beside the market, I kind of had to take that leap. And about 2 years into it, I just decided to leave the ambulance behind. And since then, I've been a full-time pie man.
All right. So about what year was this when you were working at Acadian and kind of starting the pie thing?
So I think 2017 was the year that I left work. So at the tail end of that year, right before festival season and Thanksgiving, and usually when we get busier, I kind of said, okay, I think I need to step away. And so that's when I left the job, worked there, and then still actually cooked pies just out of the house for another 2 years. Because there's rules and regulations in Louisiana that allow that.
The home
food
cottage
industry.
thing,
And so that's how we were operating. All of our sales were at markets and festivals that had food permits. And so we were able to cook a lot of food out of my home, which turned into kind of a pseudo kitchen for a couple of years. Yeah.
So probably a friend of yours and I, Paul Ayo, he said, go get him. And then there was another guy who left a comment, but I can't mention that comment because it's a slightly dirty comment.
It happens
sometimes.
I got to hide in the comment section. Yeah.
Okay. So give or take 2015 to 2017 is kind of when all this kind of started.
From ideas and actually started selling products.
So the name Acadiana Slice kind of is almost derivative from working at Acadian Ambulance.
Yeah, I was working at Acadian Ambulance, and so Acadian Slice just seemed like it rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, because before we started, I said Acadiana Slice, and you're like...
everyone puts that A on the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because Acadiana, it just rolls, but...
I understand.
Man, okay, so you're in the middle of making pies, and you had to have that tough decision to either continue working at Acadian Ambulance or create pies for a living.
For a living. Never having worked in food or owned a business or owned a restaurant or anything.
That's crazy. So you said you started out at the farmer's market.
Yes.
How, at what point did you realize, like, okay, this is a big deal? Like, were you selling like 10 a day, or were you selling a lot more than you thought you would be selling, to the point where you're like, this is too big to be just a hobby?
Yeah. And so the market from day one, like I said, we sold quite a bit of stuff there. And still to this day, like most of our production during the week is just getting us to the farmer's market on the weekend. And so, like you said, it became work. So I would work on the ambulance all day, come home, and then work in my kitchen at night, just prepping for a 4-hour day on the weekend. And that was enough to just keep all this. It was paying its own bills. I hadn't borrowed any money to start it. And then when the markets got popular, and then we started doing, like I said, festivals and other events, the workload Monday through Friday, just prepping, became a lot. And so that was really the genesis of these hard questions. And my wife's family, she's a third generation in a third generation family business. And so she was very supportive of me making this jump. It's not like I was having to convince her that this was legitimate. She was ready for me to do it before I was. You know? Yeah. And so that made it a lot easier. My son was very young at the time, so it's not like we, had a whole family full of kids I was trying to support or anything. So these things that I was really agonizing over were decisions that were a lot easier than I was given credit for. And, up to that point, I'd kind of proven the concept a little bit. I was making sales. It wasn't a brand new idea. And so, yeah.
Okay.
It was still a tough decision, but,
Yeah. So it wasn't like you're in the garage going, honey, I think I want to sell pie.
Yeah, she never looked at me like I was crazy. And I mean, she was eating them at the whole time we were cooking at the house. So she knew it was going great. But I mean, for some of these events, I was pretty much wrecking our home kitchen. I mean, destroying the house and just picking it all up.
I'm pretty sure there was flour and all that good stuff everywhere.
We had like industrial racks and equipment in the house at this time.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we'll get to it. But yeah, on the timeline, it was really during the pandemic in 2020 when that all kind of shifted to a truly more like commercial route.
All right. We're going to talk about that and more. Got to get my sponsors mentioned. You've probably already seen their logos at the bottom. So first up, Acadiana, our Music Academy of Acadiana. They're a locally founded music school in Acadiana, Lafayette area, right by Sam's Club. They were founded by Tim Benson, who is a UL Lafayette Music School graduate. Super great guy. They have a great business, tons of students in and out. They teach students of all ages and styles. So if you want to learn anything from violin, guitar, drums, violin, I said violin already, audio production, basically any instrument you want to learn, they can help you. And if you want to improve your voice, they can do that too. They have an in-house recording studio that's award-winning, and they actually record for multiple well-known artists in the area. So that it was pretty cool to see. I was taking a tour of it about a year ago or so, and I couldn't see who it was, but I could hear through the speakers that it was a local artist, and he was TikTok famous, and he mentioned his name. So I went and looked him up. I'm like, dude. And now he's like signed with Snoop Dogg and some other stuff. So like, it's really cool to have seen that. So great local company. Their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. So you can check them out. Their website, you can see it on screen, but I'll tell you if you're just listening, musicacademyacadiana.com. That's Acadiana with an A this time, not Acadian. Music Academy Acadiana.com. Check them out. They're on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff too. And then we have Chase Group Construction. Their website, chasegroupconstruction.com. They are a local general contractor and land development firm that specializes in planning, design, and construction in a design-build company format. They combine the cost awareness of a contractor and also the design process of an architect all in one company. Great company, founded locally as well by Chase Landry. They go beyond just construction. They really go hand in hand with the companies that they're building for to design and to make a project really worthwhile. You may have seen some of their work with Fat Pat's in Broussard and Bro Bridge. They built those and several other locations of businesses around Lafayette. I'll have more expanded lists later on, but Fat Pat's is the biggest one because everybody knows what Fat Pat's is. So, and if you don't, you need to go try it. They have a peanut butter burger. I hear it's great, and also a queso burger I've had that I hear is really good. I hear it. God, I'm really fumbling on my words. I have had it, the queso burger. It's good. Anyway, back to Chase Group. Their slogan is Dream, Design, Develop. Check them out. Again, their website, chasegroupconstruction.com. All right. Okay, so we are going to get back to talking about pie because this is the reason we're here today. I want to know, what type of pie do you specialize in? I think you've sent me kind of an idea, and I went to your Facebook page, which, by the way, if you're listening or watching, go to their Facebook page. Just type in Acadian Slice pies. Yeah. And you want to see their logo? I'll show you their logo so you don't mess up. That is the logo. It's a rolling pin with the nice pie lattice.
Yes.
Design. I know the word lattice. Don't ask me how.
We don't even make a lattice pie. That's the funny part. Yeah.
All right, so that's the logo. Go check them out while we're talking. You make a lot of different pie.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the best pie that you make, in your opinion? And kind of elaborate on all the different pies, because I mentioned that you don't do pizza pies, but you started correcting me.
Pizza inspired pies.
All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Tell us what kind of pie you have.
And so like we were saying earlier, our pastry crust is really the foundation of all the things we do. It takes up the most prep time. It's a traditional like French style pastry crust. It's just butter, flour, sugar, salt, a little bit of cold water. But within that, it lends itself to a lot of different sweet and savory stuff. So, I mean, we make a boudin pepper jack hand pie, which of course is our most popular, but we do a pizza flavored, like it's got Italian sausage and pepperoni. It's kind of like a fancy hot pocket.
Yeah.
We're doing a crawfish and corn makshu pie right now at the market because it's crawfish season. And so you can really stuff anything into the pie crust, and all we're doing is folding it over and then throwing it in the oven. And that same crust is what we use on the outside of our sweet pies, like pecan pies and apple pies and things like this. So it's just one crust that's, like I said, very versatile, and we use that, and it's buttery and flaky. It's like a biscuit that doesn't rise. So it's I mean, because sometimes you go to places and that's the worst part of a pie. It's just kind of this afterthought. It's all about the filling, but it's kind of a big deal for us. Yeah.
All right. So while we have the highest retention on the video, I want to show some photos. I took some photos from your website and your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Also, I got photos of your menu, so I'll show those after we show some of the images. And then we will shift into how you went from home cottage law baker into a full-fledged commercial kitchen baking operation. So
full production.
Exactly. All right. So we're in the middle of the season of Mardi Gras. Let's go ahead and show you guys some of the pictures of that. So this, as and this is straight from your Facebook page, so it shouldn't be anything that you don't already know. So this is a top-down shot of the Mardi Gras pie. And you actually brought me some samples.
I did, yeah.
And my mouth is literally watering.
There you go.
Watering, guys. I'm so distracted by the smell and the sight of it. So, and you're seeing a photo right now, so you can probably understand my frustration here at the moment. I can't like bury my face in it. All right. Describe this pie. What is it?
So the fancy word for this type of pie is a galette. And so it's a rustic style pie that it looks like a pizza when it comes out the oven. So it has a cream cheese base to it. We have a couple different flavors. We have a cinnamon pecan, chocolate coconut, a lemon and almond, and then a strawberry and almond.
Yeah.
And so we make the filling, spread it around, and then we fold up the edges and crimp them and then throw it in the oven. And when it comes out, it really does look like a pizza because it's not in a pie tin. It bakes flat on the pan. And then we cut it with a pizza cutter and serve it to you in a little triangle. And that's our Mardi Gras, quote unquote, king pie offering for the season.
Dude, I'm loving it. So you can see in the photos there, it looks like a little pizza it has the little crust on the rim there, and it screams eat me. Like I'm struggling here, I'll tell you right now. And then this was cool. You have what I believe you call a Ponchatoula Pop-Tart.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned kind of like a Hot Pocket vibe.
Exactly.
This right here looks like a Hot Pocket / Pop-Tart, but it's got legit strawberries.
Chunks of strawberries.
Man, that looks so good. Tell us a little bit about like how you came up with this.
Yeah, and so the hand pies that we do are, I guess, like you said, like turnovers, Hot Pockets. There's so many names for these things. But when it's strawberry season, we get our hands on as many Louisiana strawberries as we can, and most of them come from the Ponchatoula, Amite, east part of the state over there, and we cook them down. Try not to add crazy amounts of sugar to it because we don't want it to be like dessert sweet. Keep it actually tasting like a strawberry. We put the filling in our crust, fold it over, bake it. When it comes out, we hit it with a lemon glaze and toasted pistachios, which is an interesting contrast because it's a little crunchy and it's salty also. But we run that one for as long as we can while the strawberries are fresh. Yeah.
And these strawberries you said are locally?
All Louisiana strawberries.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so what is strawberry season?
So strawberry season, you usually start to see them. It's only been a couple of weeks now. I guess you would say like late winter or early Louisiana spring, however that goes. And then sometimes it'll kick right into like June or July.
Okay.
Yeah. It kind of backs right into peaches. So as soon as the strawberries start to go away, during the summer, you'll start to see the peaches coming in play.
Okay. So moving on, these are savory pies, and I'm going to pull up the image here. So this is it looks like a selection of different pies. They look savory to me.
Yeah.
And some of them might be sweet. Some of them look like they have like a
The
cream.
glaze, that would be the sweet.
All right.
ones.
So I don't know if you know the picture that I'm talking about. It has the red checker background.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to tell me what they are just by memory? Or do you
I don't
need
know
to
exactly
see?
that picture, which one that is. But I can usually tell you. So that's just a picture of what we do that you can get picked up or delivered from the kitchen, and it's a box. So it's 6 pies you'll get delivered to you in a pizza box, and it can be a combination of any sweet or savory pies that you want. And some of the savory ones, like the ones we do at the market, is boudin pepper jack. We do a breakfast one, which is andouille, egg, and cheddar, and then we're doing the crawfish and corn makshu pie right now because we're right in the middle of crawfish season. Yeah,
And see, you have like a little dip for the savory ones.
So each different one, we try to, some of them we use we have about 6 or 7 different sauces right now that we kind of try to rotate amongst different hand pies, the savory ones, yeah.
Oh, God. That just looks so good. And then we have take and bake.
Yeah, so that's a new, I say new, it's been about a year now. And so this was something customers asked for, and it wasn't something we really sold a whole lot. They said, man, I really wish I could get these pies, like a bunch of them, and bake them at my house. And as a business owner, you were like, well, I want you to buy them from me at the market. But then over time, we started to think about how we could do it. And right after we prep them, we'll throw them in the freezer, and then we vacuum seal them in a bag. And so you could take them home. You don't need to thaw them. They go straight from the freezer to the oven or the air fryer, which is a thing that a lot of people are doing with them now. And they come out great. That's even better than an oven if you're baking them. And then, it's kind of taken off at the market, and it's been a great like grocery type item that we've been able to put in a lot of people's hands.
The picture that I have, it has boudin. Obviously, that's obviously boudin.
Yeah.
Okay, and then wakey wakey.
That's the andouille egg and cheddar, so breakfast pie. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Yeah.
All right, and then I'll go ahead and quickly run through the menu that I literally lifted right off of your Facebook page here. I don't know if I have it in the right order, but I'm going to attempt. So this one right here is hand pies. So you see they have the savory list there. So if you need to take a screenshot, by all means, take your little screenshot. But you can also go to their Facebook page. It's on there in higher resolution.
Too.
And the website,
You'll see pictures, and you can order them right from there.
And then I'll show you another one here. So this is their catering menu. So you guys do catering. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then take a screenshot if you need. I'm moving on. I just messed up on how my video feed is here. Okay, I'm gonna show you the last screen. There you go. All right, and this is the sweet and also the frozen take and bake pie list. So take your little screenshot if you need. And we're moving on. All right, so now that we got the food porn images out of the way, because let's just be honest, I mean,
that's all we do. That's why we post them.
I mean, if you're a restaurant or a baker and you're not posting food porn, what are you doing?
I don't know. Because I follow restaurants that I'm never going to go to just because I want to see the pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I tell people. Even if you never buy anything from us, just put it on your feed. It's a bunch of pretty pictures of pie. There's much worse things that could be on your feeds.
Right. All right. So I want to learn a little bit more about how you transition from the home baker side to the commercial side. So you didn't have a commercial kitchen at your disposal at that time. How did you make that transition? Like what opportunities were made available to you to branch out from your home into a commercial kitchen?
Yeah. And so we had started doing a few things at a commercial kitchen that was available in town just for space reasons. Like when we had to do these big festivals and events, we needed some things. But at the time we weren't doing anything that we couldn't do under the cottage law. So we just, for financial reasons and all these things and overhead, we kept it at home as long as we could. And then the pandemic hit.
Oh, that nasty.
Yeah. And so, but it's probably didn't affect me the way it affected a lot of businesses. Right. So as soon as the pandemic hit, we were still selling every weekend at the market and doing very well there. And they had to shut the market down. Nobody knew it was going to happen. So they said, okay, we're going to shut it down. It was down for about a month or so. But like I said, I didn't have employees to fire. I didn't have a lease hanging over my head. So I didn't have these issues that a lot of other food businesses had at that time.
Yeah.
And so I just started making the same Facebook posts I was making before saying, hey, I'm delivering, putting a weekly menu out. And luckily we have a great customer base and a following by then. So people just started following and reposting and just passing it along saying, hey, everybody's stuck at home. This guy's delivering pies, sweet stuff, savory stuff. Just hit him up. And I don't think I was charging a delivery fee. I was just packing the van or my vehicle. My son was with me at the time because he wasn't in school. And we would just hit the road every day. I mean, delivering all over the place, meeting people in parking lots, everywhere. And it just kept us afloat and really, like, we were doing better doing that than we were some other weeks. And then when they opened the market back up after the pandemic, it was the only thing in town. There was no other sports. Everything was still shut down. And so this was the only place. It was outdoors and plenty of space under the oak trees and all over the park that wasn't open yet. But you could get out of the house for 4 hours on a Saturday. And when we opened the market back up after the pandemic, it was unbelievable how many people showed up compared to before.
Yeah.
Like we did double the sales we were doing before the pandemic, and it just didn't stop. Every weekend it just kept getting more and more and more. And so I, at that point, could not handle doing this in my house anymore, but for a good reason, because it was working. And so I reached out to some people I had made contact with in town, and one of them was Boyer DeReese. He's been on the show before, and I knew that he had a kitchen that he wasn't using all the time, that he was operating Good Eats at the time. And so they had some days of the week they weren't using the kitchen, and some times where legally I could go in, health department could come in, certify me in this kitchen to work here. His team could work when they needed, I could work where I needed, and then I had access to all of his kitchen equipment. And so
that's awesome.
It was amazing. And so for about a year, we operated kind of around their schedule in there. And I mean, this was a full commercial oven compared to my little oven at home. So I went from being able to bake about a dozen pies at a time to being able to throw 70 pies in an oven at a time. Wow. Yeah. And so it really, like, my brain started just firing in a different way, thinking about the possibilities and what we could do and what we could handle. And so that was when I made the shift to a commercial space. And it just, the markets kept getting more popular, and the festivals and events started to come back. And so that really just cemented us as, all right, we're not working in the house anymore. This is a legitimate business. Like this, it started to feel, and that was a couple years in by that time. That's when it really started to feel real. Yeah. Like the first time I filled that oven full of pies, when it was quadruple what I could do at home, I think I started crying. I was like, it was a, you know, to use an overused term, it was a game changer. You know, it really just changed the whole operation of the business, like working in a true commercial setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this commercial kitchen was the Goodies kitchen. It was
the kitchen that they were using. And like I said, just went in when they weren't using it. As long as we weren't in there at the same time, it was
mixing
fine.
stuff and all that. Yeah.
And so I did everything out of there, as long as, you know, it was not their business hour, and it wasn't a commercial storefront for them either. It was just a production kitchen. So yeah, it worked out great. We were able to share the space for about a year or so. Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, and this is kind of the theme that this is headed, is if you had a commercial kitchen, like you said you have, and it wasn't a storefront, and you only sold at the market, how did people get your products beforehand, and like what was the process for that? And I guess where I'm going is like the ghost kitchen kind of
we're leading aspect to that. Yeah. So at this time I didn't have a website yet, and so all of my communication with customers was through social media, and I had an email address and all that stuff. My phone number was all over the place. And so it was that same year we moved into Good Eats. Thanksgiving's obviously a huge time of year for us.
Right.
We're a pie business for Thanksgiving. So I was doing, I think out of my house the year before, I did about 50 or so pies. You know, no big deal. I could handle that in the oven. Stayed up for a couple of days getting them all ready. But I said, okay, I'm in this commercial kitchen now. We're going to blow it up. And like I said, it was after the pandemic. The markets were huge. And so I just had a lot more exposure than I'd had before. And I think I took like 150 to 200 orders compared to the 50 I was doing last year. And this is the time I had no employees. I'm doing all of this by myself, and ran that out of Good Eats. But I was taking phone orders, Facebook orders, Instagram orders, email orders, and that was exhausting. So that Thanksgiving, I got it all done, and as I was handing out the pies for Thanksgiving, in between waiting for customers, I was building a website. So I had heard about Shopify, which I knew a couple people. They said it was pretty easy. I'm not a tech person, so I needed user-friendly and easy. Couldn't pay anybody to do it. And so, so that Thanksgiving, I was like, I got to fix this. And so I just built out the website immediately, and just a lot of the same pictures we had on social media, you just put them on the website. And that was when people started to be able to order stuff online, and then I would, get the notifications, and then it was a lot easier than doing all of the different formats and taking all these different orders.
Yeah.
And since that point, we kind of still try to drive most of our sales through the website. just for logistics and tracking purposes, it's a lot easier for us. Yeah.
Okay, so are you on any of the food delivery apps like ASAP or DoorDash?
We did ASAP and all that stuff for a while, and I didn't put too much effort into it, and it's all the fees that they charge. And when we're so small, it's so easy for me to deliver. We offer delivery. No need to go through that third-party app. And so I just
charge a delivery fee?
It's like $5 flat rate fee. And I think it's a 10-mile radius from my kids, which is like all of Lafayette Parish. Right. And even if you call and be like, hey, I'm a little bit further away, we'll get it to you. And so it's just, in my opinion, it's a lot easier to order directly from us than it would be to deal with all those other apps. And I know you can get a lot more sometimes exposure through them, but
I mean, that's I guess the selling point that they try to tell you. Yeah. Like we're a marketplace, you know, this and that. And
we get it. Yeah. But we get plenty of orders, enough for delivery and pickup through our own website. And because that's how we've designed it, like you said, ghost kitchen style. And so, we really haven't found a need to use those third-party apps at this point. Yeah.
So when people hear ghost kitchen, some people, they hear, I'm trying to find the right word.
Yeah, it's a weird term. Yeah.
Yes. What I think they perceive whenever they hear about ghost kitchens is, and I'm going to use this word loosely, shadiness.
Yeah.
There's other words that I'm trying to find here, but basically some bigger companies, even in Lafayette, and I won't name names, but they have ghost kitchens. And what I mean by ghost kitchens and kind of what we're talking about is they operate out of their existing restaurant as one name that you see on the sign by the road.
Yeah.
But on DoorDash or ASAP, what you'll see is a different name, but it's still within a very similar theme.
Yep.
And it's nothing shady by any means if the marketing is right.
Yep.
But people have found it odd that they order from this place that is this quote-unquote wing company. Let's just say that. And they find out that it's like Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Yeah. And that's just like everything. Corporate America has found a way to kind of convolute something that could be very beneficial. And so like the catch-all for us, when I try to explain it to people, is the way that I would describe a ghost kitchen. It's a production kitchen with no walk-up retail storefront. And so that's really all it is. We are fully commercial because after we left Good Eats, we moved into Tops Appliances and Cabinetry. The woman who owns the building and the business built some kitchens for use. So we moved in there, and we weren't really sharing a space with anyone anymore. And that's kind of when we took off with the website. And so we basically have like a digital storefront where, and it's still very hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around. It's like, where are you located? And we give them the address. Okay, can I just walk up and buy stuff? It's like, nope. So what do you mean? You can go to the web. It's very easy. You know, I've tried to build out the website. We don't have an app, but it's pretty simple. And you can select a day and time and all these things you want to pick up. And then there's a sign when you drive to the location. It says, hey, text your name and your order number. And you do that, and we bring it right out to you. Or you select for delivery. You know, I made deliveries this morning that came in off the website. And so a lot of people get it, and they're like, great, this is like Amazon for pies, is what one lady said a couple of weeks ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But still, to have a food business that someone can't just walk into and look at stuff is a very hard concept for a lot of people.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah. Especially in Lafayette, because we don't have a lot of that going on. Some bigger markets, it is a little bit more easier for people to grab onto, but there's just not a lot of people operating like that right now.
Because Lafayette, and I was explaining this to somebody in the comment section. Yeah. Lafayette is different.
It is.
And somebody thought that I was being critical of Lafayette or negative about Lafayette. So this was talking about a restaurant that recently closed, a in-store walk up, go to sit down restaurant that closed that was actually pretty unique. Now, was it too unique for Lafayette, or was it in line? The blanket statement that I used was Lafayette is just different.
Yeah.
And I had to explain that because this person was like, hey, you're being negative. He might be listening, and I hope he is. And because him and I already kind of discussed it, and we met eye to eye. And I said, Lafayette is traditional, and we don't break tradition much here.
Yeah.
Like, if you get king cake from Keller's, you're getting king cake from Keller's probably every year.
And that's what a king cake is.
Yeah.
To you.
Yeah. But if you're a Meshes
person,
king cake person, you want a Meshes king cake every year because that's what you're a traditionalist. And I think that has a lot to do with the deep Catholic roots that is of Lafayette in the South Louisiana area. They're devout. Yeah. I'm not a Catholic, but I'm married to one who has family that are, all Catholics, and some of them are super devout to the point to where they will not break tradition unless something dire happens.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't grow up here. So when I first moved to Lafayette, a lot of these institutions that you got to go here. This is the best burger. This is the best pizza. This is the best this. And so, I was new to town. So I was trying all these places and I was like, that's good. And so it was part of my journey to find what I like the best. But yeah, it's a town where people, they have the thing that they love, and they are diehards, and they're going to support that no matter what. Yeah. And there's a lot of revolution, in terms of new restaurants that open and things like that. And some things are able to kind of catch on to enough people. But it's tough because those decades old places are still in business, and that's where people want to go for their things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned best burger or best pizza. I'll drive down any road in Lafayette that has restaurants on it, and if I'm passing by a burger place, guess what's on the sign? Yeah, best burger of Lafayette. Sure. I'm like, oh, well, are you really?
And it's those using subjective terms like they're in objective reality is pretty tricky sometimes.
I love it, but I'm like, I've had a really good burger there, but I've had a better burger at this place that also says their burger is the best.
And there's so much nostalgia tied to that. Like if that's the burger that your grandfather
Judy Sin has that.
That's what I mean. Some people bite into that, and that, like you mentioned the king cakes. My wife grew up here and is a diehard Meshes king cake fan.
Of course, if you grew up here, it's Meshes.
And she'll eat. I'll buy these things and make things and do all this stuff, and she loves it. But to her, if she's thinking about king cake, that's the only thing
that's what makes her mouth water.
Checks all the boxes for her.
Because it's part of the filling. Like if it's the chocolate filling, it's that chocolate flavor.
Yeah, and that's what it is to her. Yeah. And so there's so much nostalgia tied to those places. And I get it, because it's like grandma's gumbo kind of thing. Like that's what gumbo is to you. And so it's interesting, but sometimes hard when you're trying to sell people food because you're trying to sell them on something. And, luckily we try to keep it. We're not trying to tell you that this is the best, or we're not trying to reinvent anything. We're just trying to make good stuff, and hopefully it's worthy of
what's good is that you're doing your best to make your product accessible. Yeah. By going to the food, like the Monkus Park market.
And we've always tried to grow this thing organically, and we didn't, take out a bunch of money from the beginning and just bust open this huge storefront. We always tried to just kind of let it roll, like, oh, the markets are good, let's add a festival, let's do this, we're too big, let's move into this kitchen, and really try to just kind of grow it in that way. And like you said, keep things where the people are, going to festivals and going to events where we're trying, and like right now, making it easy for you where you can just place an order on the website, we'll bring it to you. You don't have to do anything crazy to get our food.
Yeah. Okay. So we are at about 40 minutes.
All right.
I wanna shift into talking about the future and what does that look like for Acadiana Slice. Okay, so we're talking about ghost kitchens and of course the tradition and the hard sell of trying to get people to go there. But do you have a desire to one day have a storefront where you can finally get Mima and Grandma and Pappy
to finally
where
show
are you
up.
Located? Because they got the jitterbug phone. They can't order from you.
No, and I know. And people will call and say like, "Oh, I don't do the internet."
So you don't do the internet.
And so I still take phone orders, but we're trying to drive everything through the website. And I mean, some of this stuff, like I said, it's like some of those third-party apps. You ordered from the website, and within an hour, it's ready.
Yeah.
We throw it in. We get a notification. We throw it in the oven immediately, and it's baked and it's ready. 1 hour. That's just like you would call in and order a restaurant. But it's still hard for some people to kind of grasp it. And I have customers that have been coming to us for years and saying, so if I want to get something, I have to wait for the market on Saturday, right? It's like, no. We're still selling pie Monday through Friday through the website. And so, like, the future for us, when we started doing the frozen take and bakes, that was to test out kind of a different model, just a different thing. So we're selling a bunch at the market, hot and ready to eat. So let's see if this is it was something people had asked for, and we wanted to see if, in general, our customers would kind of gravitate towards something like this. And we were testing out shipping and things like that. And to ship, it would have to be frozen. So we started just packing up a bunch of different flavors of pie and bringing them to the market, and people loved it.
Yeah.
And they were kind of saying like, hey, I'll take some frozen ones, but also a hot one. And that idea, like, we get our boudin from Poche's in Brobridge.
Okay.
Shout out to Poche.
Hey, shout out.
And they're one of the only people in town that you can buy boudin from in wholesale, because they're a true manufacturer. Whole lot of red tape involved in that kind of thing. So one day I was in there getting the boudin that we use, and someone was in their storefront buying frozen boudin and said, hey, I'll take a hot link for the road. And I was like, that's it. Like, that's
nice.
So people are still willing, because I was always worried that if I sold frozen pies, it would kind of take away from the sales of like an in-person type of thing. Just because at that point, that's all we had done. But just not thinking that, no, people just want the product. And so I saw that and I was like, that was like an epiphany for me. And so we started just freezing and vacuum sealing, and we bought a sealer and would label them and do all the things, and just pack a freezer and bring it to the market. And that's exactly what people did. Say, hey, give me a pack of this one, blah, blah, blah. And we can bring more variety in the frozen ones. And so they would fill a bag and then say, and I'll take, a wakey while I'm walking around. And so it was a really cool thing to see like that come to be. And there's no waste in that product. It's not like we're guessing how many pies to bring, and then if we don't sell it, we got to figure out what to do with it.
It's frozen.
It's frozen. We just take it back to the thing and plug it back in and fill the freezer up. And so that was kind of a big deal for us. And so it also opened up the question of being able to wholesale some products. So
being able to ship it out,
but also offer it in that way to like restaurants.
Okay.
And even smaller markets and stores. And so we'd had some interest from different restaurants and things like that, and that wanted to put pies on the menu. So, hey, we've had your pecan pie. My friend said that's the best. I'm opening up this spot. We want to do it. And so we've had them on the menu for a while at a few places, and are just really starting to kind of push it out there and see.
Are you able to tell us where?
Yeah, it's Chops Mid-City Smokehouse.
Okay.
So we've had our pecan pie on the menu there for a while, and just trying to. We've dropped it off at a few different places, and so I'm not going to say those yet because it's not on the menu there, but also just seeing what options work in that setting. And then, maybe some small markets and places, like I mentioned, those meat markets that don't have a pastry chef. They don't really have a dessert option, but they're already going there buying, a turkey roll or whatever that is frozen that they're going to take home and bake. Would it be a stretch for them to take home some pies for them to take home and bake? It's a very similar product to what they're already offering. And just, I think it would work well in those settings. And so the wholesale game is kind of a focus of ours right now.
Okay. So that's the future right now.
That's the future. A lot of irons in the fire, but that, and an interesting thing we did last year was started to vend at UL football games.
Okay. Wow. That's a good one.
Yeah. So that was a big deal. And so we actually got an oven into the stadium, and we're baking pies for the games. Because one thing we try to do, and which we've learned from mistakes of these festivals and events, is not have wasted product.
Yeah.
Is to bake a bunch of food and then just hope that people show up. Where if it rains, we lose food. The food is wasted. We try to give it out. Someone who works girl that works with us right now does a lot of work with the community fridge, so we donate those things.
That's
and she's
awesome.
really good about getting, if we have any excess product, she makes sure it gets into those hands. But we try not to. You want to, I guess, guess right, not have any wasted food. And so we started baking pies on site at Cajun Field. And so
is your oven still there?
it's there. And
That's
so
funny.
we just are talking to them this week about trying to maybe do the baseball games also.
Nice.
And so it's that relationship with them, with UL, is kind of something that I'm looking forward to being able to do more with them. And so baseball's a lot of games, though. I think we had like 7 home games. Baseball's a lot more than that. So, those will probably be some long weekends because I'll be trying to handle that just to figure it out before I can say if I need to put people in it. But yeah, so like wholesale and then,
And how old is, you
baseball.
mentioned you have a kid. How old?
I have an 8-year-old son, and then I have a 1-year-old daughter.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have big age gap. But yeah, we have a little baby girl who just turned 1. Yeah. And my 8-year-old son, I mean, he was around it from the beginning.
Yeah, and he's able to help you now, right?
He comes to the market, and everybody's, when he's not there, it's, where's your little helper? He's been side by side. Like I said, during the pandemic, he was in there with me.
Awesome.
Boxes, a car full of pie boxes, and he was delivering and doing the whole thing. So he's watched the whole business grow. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
That's been a fun journey with him.
Well, I got a couple more questions, and these should be relatively quick for you. And then we'll close out from there because I have to make some runs. There's a couple of businesses that I need to meet with. But I want to know, because obviously you're coming across as a major foodie.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Where is 2 of your favorite places to eat in Lafayette? And you won't make anybody mad, I'm sure.
Those are easy for me. So my wife and I's first date was at Pamplona.
Okay, awesome.
And so anytime we are stepping out and we want to,
and you're looking your best.
Yeah, and we're really trying to rekindle everything that a date night is supposed to rekindle.
Exactly.
We're going to Pamplona.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All
so that, and just, we kind of like to try newish things.
Oh,
So,
you like to break tradition.
yeah, so well, like I said, I didn't grow up here, so we
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
a lot of traditions. So we went to Social last week, which was great.
Was that first time?
No, we had been
Oh, okay.
hadn't been in a while, but yeah, we went to Social and loved everything about it. We loved Spoonville.
Spoonbill's cool.
Yeah.
It had duck tenders.
Yeah, we've enjoyed everything
That
we
was
got
that
from
was
there.
I was like, I was a little hesitant.
We're
But-
always, if we're taking my son out, we're usually hitting up Pop's Po' Boys. That's our favorite spot to go as a family, because we all get to eat delicious food. He can draw all over the tablecloth. So that's usually, we do Art Walk quite a bit, and we're used to it. And so we would go to Pop's and then hit up Art Walk.
So downtown seems to be a hot spot.
We
for
like
you.
downtown.
Yeah.
We it's always something going on, and so it's always fun because there's so much to do. We can walk around when we're down there too, and so we live in Youngsville, and there's probably not a week that goes by where we're not eating a Twins burger.
Exactly.
It's so easy for us. It's right by the house.
Best burger of
Yeah, so we
Acadiana, right?
So Twins is like our go-to, like
Yeah.
I would say, like quick service type restaurant. But yeah, anything downtown, we're big fans. We like to get out. My son is kind of a social bug, he really likes to do stuff, and he likes to go walk around, and we're not going to hold him back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to open a storefront, it'd probably be downtown.
I don't know. Downtown's tricky. We've done a lot of events downtown, and it's very interesting to think about just opening up on Jefferson Street.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'm doing my market research in terms of a storefront, I would probably say it's got to be like the South Side or something like that, or like into the Youngsville area. That seems to be where everything's popping up now.
Yeah.
But it's tricky. I mean, you obviously know this better than I do.
I mean, let me tell you, South Side, as treacherous as it is with traffic.
Yeah.
I mean, just a pure observation. That's where the money's being spent.
And that's what it seems to be the case. And so we're not contemplating a storefront
But
at
like,
any
you know,
point.
it's good
But
to
you
it's
think
good to
you
visualize.
just see all these things popping
Yeah.
up. But yeah, and that's got this would be seems the best bang for your buck. But where are all the cool kids still going? I think that's Jefferson Street.
Yeah.
I think that's downtown. Yeah.
Especially with all the guys, John Peterson, then you have
Yeah.
Ryan Payco, who has a lot of hands
we've
there.
done some, like you mentioned, Ryan and
Gus.
And Gus. We've done some of their festivals and events and talked to them plenty of times. And just to be a part of that scene would be amazing. And you get Mardi Gras, you get Festival International. So yeah.
Yeah, you get all the hype that downtown has.
To be able to be a part of downtown would be.
But like you said, it's tricky.
It's tricky, and it's I think for a lot of people, it's scary, because you are competing with all these businesses, but they seem to have a great community. It seems like if you're a downtown business,
you get support.
You get support from other downtown business, and I think that would be a cool thing to be a part of too.
Yeah,
is if you could be part of that family of businesses that are operating downtown. That seems like that would be pretty neat. Mutual company to be a part of. Yeah.
All right. Last question.
Go ahead.
All right. So you being a pie guy, that's very dessert heavy on that. Where is your favorite dessert in Lafayette?
My favorite dessert, man, that is tricky. But I would have to say, man.
It's okay to name a couple.
Yeah. Me and my wife are big fans of any coffee shop that does affogatos. So we went to Carpe Diem. You know what an affogato is?
I have no clue.
So it's a gelato.
Okay.
So Carpe Diem does it. I think Coffee Lab, Rev used to do it. They might still do it. But you take gelato and then they give it to you in a coffee cup and then they pour espresso right on top of this gelato. And so, and it melts in there and it makes this creamy, incredible treat. And so, any place that has an affogato, so it's usually places that do coffee also. Yeah,
it's very similar to avocado the way it sounds.
It sounds like that, yeah. But yeah, we're big fans of that. Okay. And so any place that has those, if we're looking for a dessert, because then if it's a gelato place, then my son or anybody else can just eat gelato like ice cream. But then we can have
your adult.
We can sip espresso at 8 p.m. with ice cream. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, cool, man. Look, before I let you go, I want to go ahead and let people know where they can go to your website. So the website I'm going to put up on screen right now, AcadianSlicePies.com. Look, just be a boomer and go to Google and type in Acadian Slice Pies. You can type in Acadiana probably, and you'll probably get it.
And to everyone listening, we're trying to do this digital ghost kitchen thing. So go to the website. We try to make it as easy as possible. And
easy as pie?
Yeah, easy as pie. Boom. But yeah, it's so Monday through Friday.
Cliche, I know.
You don't have to wait for the markets or events. That's just what we're trying to just drive the traffic through there. And we always update it so you'll know what's on the menu. It's right there. Yeah.
Well, man, Korey, it was great to have you on. I loved talking about your business and kind of how you started it. And there was some good, genuine back and forth comedic conversation there. So I enjoy that because, any conversation that feels forced is tough.
Yeah.
And this one was easy breezy, beautiful, cover girl. And I loved it. And I appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to seeing your business grow, because I know it's still technically a baby.
Oh yeah, it never feels.
Yeah,
it never. I mean, sometimes I realize man, we're only 2 years out of my house.
Yeah,
so it's crazy to feel like a long journey, but also realize man, it's still small.
Yeah, plenty of nights to be considered an overnight success.
For sure.
Right?
10 years to be considered an overnight success.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Korey, again, thank you for coming on, man, and I look forward to following you and
thank you, man.
Trying these pies that you have graciously provided.
I eat plenty enough pie on my own. Man. You can have those.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. And remember, you can listen to the audio format on Apple Podcasts, Google, and Spotify, and all those places. So we have a lot to upload. So if you are following, you're going to get a lot of notifications, most likely either today or this weekend. So anyway, look forward to The next episode, we have some great guests coming up, but I can't tell you who they are because that would date this episode. So you're just going to have to follow. We have a Facebook page for the Tea Podcast. Follow that, or you can just follow us on Developing Lafayette. And anyway, that is it, and we'll see you guys on the next one.